I just think that people tend to be a little bit scared about the fact that you can get hemp and you can get cannabis, or you can get basically weed, marijuana, what you smoke for like other reasons, from the same plant. How do you, or how does the government, or how do people who like basically make it, how do you basically move away, separate those parts of it, which would make it safe to actually eat a cookie made from hemp and not do what it would do as a different part of that plant? But just super duper quickly, because then I have my next question to ask you.
Right, good question, right? So now here, if you look at it, it's like looking at a cat family, right? You have a household cat, you have a lion, you have a tiger, you have a leopard, right? All of these like are different species. Now similarly in hemp, you only have one compound out of the 1,000+ compounds found in the plant which makes you high, which is THC, right? So isolating that like one compound, you have nothing else in the plant that is intoxicating of any nature. In fact, hemp can get you really, really high on nutrition. Nothing else, right? If you isolate THC and remove it. So it's about, creating the right, legislation, the right rules to grow the plant in a way which is like prescribed by the government, right? And not just growing it for, THC purposes or for, recreational purposes, which is very possible with the advancements in science that we have today. Right?
Got it. Okay, so I just read this great piece of like sort of information which asked, can hemp change the world? Now that's a rather massive claim. Can hemp change the world? Now, hemp, and they're saying that hemp could actually take over basically plastic, right? Because hemp could be used to ultimately replace our everyday plastic use. Hemp could be used for feeds for your cattle. And as all of us know, India is like sort of one of the largest consumers as well as sort of exporters of milk. So we need feed for the cattle. Hemp is also being said that it could actually that it could actually try and fix basically climate change. Massive, massive, massive claims, okay? And I want you all to please tell me honestly, how much truth is there in these claims? Because if this is true, we could be on the brink of an absolutely phenomenal change in the world. So once again, I'm going to start right from you.
Super. I think it's important to put this down this way. There are 5 parts of this plant that we're talking about. One is a seed, one is a fiber, one is the leaf, one is the bud, which is the cannabis flower, and then there is a resin from the flower. NDPS Act in India clearly demarcates the fact that seed, fiber, and the leaf are all exempt from the bracketing as a narcotic. So they are all permitted to be used. Now, growing hemp is a 90 to 120 day process. It is, all of India is already got a weed crop like hemp growing in its backyard. So the farmer doesn't have to do much. We are already, it's one of the most underutilized yet abundantly available fiber and seed in India at the moment. So it grows in 90 to 120 days. It grows 12 feet tall. At least hemp grows 12 feet tall. And it has 25,000 proven applications. To address the point that you raised, one of the best properties that hemp has is that it actually fixes the soil. So when one wants to grow the plant in this country, they can grow it even in alteration. They don't have to grow it as a mainstay. And when they do that, for their next cycle of growing, it actually remediates the soil and makes it much more fertile to grow the next season on. So I think that is probably one of the best, and also typically it consumes a lot of, it soaks in a lot of carbon dioxide, so it's really good for the planet in general.
Thank you. One last thing before I move on to you. Sorry, tell me about basically plastic, and I think that can be a real game changer. Would you like to tell me, any of you, about the plastic part of how hemp could take over plastic use?
So yeah, so see, hemp as a fiber or as a fiber is one of the longest fibers that is available on the planet. That is naturally occurring. There are only, I think, a couple more stronger and longer fibers that are available. The issue with the plastic industry right now is that we rely so much on petroleum for our use for, manufacturing of plastic, that it is unsustainable. And it does not really go away very quickly. Even if you decompose plastic, you still have the threat of microplastics and whatnot filling up the environment. So when we manufacture the same plastic with hemp, and the process is simple as any other bioplastic, right? But the point being, it is a stronger plastic that you create. It has less microplastics that go out into the environment and continue polluting. It is abundantly available, so you don't have to dig through the Earth's resources to keep manufacturing it. A 120-day growth cycle, in a way, ensures that you have at least 4 cycles from the same, patch of land. So that means you can at least have 4 times more plastic manufactured compared to whatever you are actually doing. And another important thing that is linked to plastic is also the use of hemp as paper alternative. So instead of cutting down trees to create timber paper, you can actually grow a lot more cannabis and use that fiber to create a lot more paper as well. So
just to add there, right? Like a tree takes about 20 to 25 years to grow, and you chop that tree to make paper, right? The US, the entire, US declaration of independence, was written on hemp paper, right? And a hemp takes about 4 months to grow. So